Hello, and welcome to our video series on H350 operations and maintenance. In this video, we're going to go through the cleaning wizard. This is going to be the post-build maintenance. This must be done after every build to ensure that the machine is ready for its next work cycle. We initiate by first removing the build and then going to the user interface where we begin the cleaning wizard. This will first instruct us to open the lid where we'll begin vacuuming. While working with or around the H350, there are some general considerations to keep in mind. Do not defeat any safety bypasses. As an example of how these work, power to the sled lamps is removed when the lid is open. Loose hair or jewelry should be pulled back, especially when activating the roller. Your work area should be clean of airborne powder. If not, wear a mask during these operations, especially when powder is more likely to be in the air, such as loading powder in the printer or removing a build. Items you will see me use in this video: a vacuum with a nozzle without bristles, as they can end up in the powder, lint-free wipes, isopropyl alcohol, brass wool, a scraper, mirror, some fine grit sandpaper, flushing fluid, as well as wearing some gloves. With that in mind, let's get going into that post-build cleaning. Our first steps in the cleaning wizard will have us open the lid. After we've opened the lid, we begin vacuuming all surfaces to remove powder. My recommendation is to start on one side of the H350 and work yourself to the other side, vacuuming and removing all powder. In this case, our operator has started on the left side near the dosing module, working over the build area, and then going into the overflow. We want to remove all powder, including that might be in between the X-rail on the outside and any areas that you see. It's imperative that we remove all powder from the build area. So now our operator is going over the surfaces of the sleds and any nooks and crannies that you might see. Important and often not addressed is vacuuming inside of the exhaust vents. Those areas are pulling a lot of powder that can accumulate in those holes. Also make sure to get the top side of the surface of the lid, as we could have some powder accumulating in those areas. Now gently and delicately around the vortex belt, we remove any powder that might have accumulated, always ensuring that we do not have any contact with that lens. Now our operator comes back and makes sure that he's removed most of the powder, if not all of the powder. He will be doubling back again later with some alcohol impregnated wipes to remove any residual powder that might be there. Following the cleaning wizard, we push the next button, which has us now take a look at the sleds. First, we go to the distribution sled and open the sled cover screws. We'll be using a Torx 20. You don't have to remove these, but I would say at least remove the screw 3/4 its travel. This will allow you to pull the tab out to remove the top covers of both the print and distribution sled. Continuing our left to right clean and workflow, we first pull the lamp cover from the distribution sled. When you pull it off, good recommendation to bring it away from the machine. Bring it away from the 350 and clean it off. Cleaning it could be done with a vacuum, but always go back over it with an alcohol impregnated rag to remove any of the residual dust that might be there. Then place it to the side and clean the next lamp cover. We now also take a look at the lamp guards. If those have a lot of residual powder built and burnt up on them, we need to begin cleaning and removing those. If you have replacements, it's a good idea to put 4 or 8 new ones into the machine and then clean the older 8 ones at a later time. You can use a scraper as shown in this video, or soaking them in water will soften that buildup and make it a lot easier to remove with a scraper later. We remove the central cover and clean the powder off of it, and now set it aside, as we will now have to do some maintenance and cleaning on the inside of the distribution sled. We now begin to vacuum around the sled. We need to be careful as we will be working around those lamps. Those lamps are delicate and we want to make sure that they do not get damaged. When we're vacuuming around the sled, again, our main point of concern is going to be the lamps. Vacuum around the surfaces and try not to touch those. We will also have to pull up the scraper if we're working with PA12 normal or PA12 in real-life state, and vacuum around the scraper to ensure that everything is cleaning properly. With the sleds still at their park positions, we now take a chance to grab a brass wool ball and clean the X-rail of any powder that might have been fused and stuck to that rail. We now clean and inspect the roller on the distribution sled. Notice that as we wipe, we rotate, wipe and rotate, and this is to ensure that we get all the surface of that roller. We're checking for any fused powder stuck to the surface, as well as any scratches or striations that could trap powder and drag it across our parts. We now need to clean the lamps. In previous instructions, lamp cleaning was done by firing the lamps off in a certain number of sequences. We're now doing it a different way, and this ensures that there's no powder buildup or any carbon that might affect our build later. What we need to do is, with an alcohol impregnated wipe, run our fingers gently and carefully on the underside of those lamps. You should have a little bit of soot build up on your finger from doing that. Continue this process on the print sled. With an IPA soaked rag, we want to go over all surfaces and remove all remaining powder that you might have on the build chamber. Again, this includes all surfaces on the bottom, and don't forget to look up and clean surfaces on the lid that you might have missed, especially around those vents, as a lot of powder gets pulled in that direction. Now with our scraper in hand, we clean the gasket, and we also make sure that we don't have any cuts or nicks in that surface. Something that we can do is use some very fine grit sandpaper and pass it along the edge. This helps to cut that 90-degree angle to a more rounded, more soft edge, and this will help to clean the powder off of that roller, as well as to clean any stubborn powder that is on that scraper. To ensure that we've properly cleaned the roller and the scraper's in the right position, we like to sprinkle a little bit of powder on the roller. Then we will activate the roller and we can see the scraper clean the powder off. This ensures that our cleaning and reassembly has been done correctly. We hit next on the cleaning wizard, and it will instruct us to close the lid to allow the sleds to move. We should never move the sleds manually, as they will always go into the correct position with the machine making those movements. The reason that we don't want to move those sleds manually is we put an extra side load and could create some issues when it comes to positioning later in builds. So once those sleds have moved towards the inside of the build area, we open the lid and we begin to remove powder from the surfaces. In this case, the operator started on the left-hand side where the sled was parked. Then we move into the piston area. Make sure to clean all the powder in the piston area, as if we do not do this, it can create the seals to have powder packed in them. Our operator now goes to the right-hand side in the cleaning area for the print sled. Make sure to remove the powder between the rail and the build area. With the brass wool that we used before, we now clean the surface of those X-rails that was occupied by the sleds. Continuing with the cleaning wizard, it now takes us to clean the vacuum nozzles. For this, we'll be using flushing fluid. We will squirt a small amount into the opening of each of the nozzles. We will also be applying flushing fluid around the surfaces of those cleaning mechanisms. This ensures a clean surface as well as a better working mechanism. We can now place a towel on top of those 3 nozzles. These should be vacuuming that towel down. And if there's proper vacuum going to the correct places, we will be able to see that slit pulling part of that cloth towel or that paper towel down into them. We now continue to clean all the surfaces around it with that cloth, making sure that you clean the nozzle surfaces. Hitting the next button on the cleaning wizard will take us to an inspection of the optical camera. So opening up the lid, we will take a lamp and inspect that vortex bell. If we see powder accumulating it, we might need to take the vacuum or some canned compressed air. What we're really paying attention to is the surface of that lens. We don't want to have any debris, any powder, any dust sticking to it. Continuing the cleaning now takes us to the underside of the print sled. We need to be careful around this area as we will be cleaning around the print nozzles. To initiate this, we need to first move the sled and the piston out of the way so that we can access this area. We will first move the piston about halfway down its travel and place a mirror on its surface. When cleaning the print heads, it's extremely important to be careful around the nozzles. We do not make contact with the nozzles, only the stainless steel nozzle plate around them. Make sure you're using a lint-free cloth and isopropyl alcohol when performing these operations. Some of these items are located in the accessory kit that was included with the printer. Then we close the lid and we instruct the print sled to move to the center of the build. Then, if you're right-handed, move the sled another 100 millimeters to the left. This will allow us access from the right side. If you're left-handed, you will more than likely want to move the sled to the right 100 millimeters so that you can access the bottom surfaces through the left side. After the underside of the print sled has been cleaned, we close the lid and move the print sled using the user interface to its park position. Now we will open the lid again and place the lamp guards on both distribution and print sled. After the lamp covers and sled cover has been placed back onto the sled, we tighten the 3 T20 screws, securing those covers onto the sleds. We finish the post-build maintenance by placing a paper down on our build surface with the piston at the top of its travel and print some full test images to inspect the health of the nozzles. So the process is now complete and the printer is now ready for printing again. Thanks for your patience in watching this longer video. In the next videos, I'll do a deeper dive into reading and understanding the full test images, as well as a deep clean around the heads. And if a worst case scenario situation comes up, cleaning in the nozzles. Thanks again and happy printing.